Yes. Right now I'm just doing the antlers right now. I'm gonna shade these and then I can move on to the rest of the character. I'm starting with the antlers because it's they're pretty much the only colored thing on the character except for the clothing. And they're relatively easy, so yeah. But also the thing with antlers is they're natural, right? So they're gonna have a lot of these things. Not gonna have a lot of like creases and folds and whatever. Not really folds, but like lines and I don't know what you call them. No, to make them look more natural. So not exactly veins either. It's just like folds in the material, something like that. Also, I tend to shade things like twice, so even if I screw up a bit on this or it's not enough on this layer, I'll just shade it again on the next time I shade it. Like, of course, this, because the shading is like sharp like this, it gives a sense of rigidity. But antlers are round, and we don't quite want to make it look that sharp. So, what I would do is select an airbrush, kind of round it out, like so. A bit like that. I can do the same thing over here, or I can just blur the shading. I can also do that. In some areas, though, the shadows that appear are the result of one in front casting a shadow over the one in the back, like this one over here. Not gonna change that because that's supposed to be like that. And this one could be a little more round. This one as well. Now let's add some detail to it. I see that this is kind of spilling out over here. Wait, what layer is this on? Okay, apparently it's on its own layer somewhere. Oh, it's up there. Okay. Yeah, you know when you have 30 fucking layers, you kind of lose track of where the fuck everything is. This is actually in the base color section. No, in the line art folder. I don't know why. Okay, let's continue. Now when something's round, there's that gradient, not the gradient, but the blurred shading, and then at the very edge is when it gets a little sharper. Look here. Okay, let's just move on to the... No, not yet. I gotta do this first. Add some more detail to this. Alright, let's move on to the rest of the character. This, because her hair and her skin are pure white, we don't actually want to use something like... We wouldn't use a tone that we normally use for shading. Like for this would work for this character. Say like that would work, but not for her. So we're gonna have to do something more pale. Not that pale. So like this, something like that. Okay, so let's start with the hair. We know the light's coming from the right, so to conform to that, we would have to add the shading over here. I put this line over here, this line over here, because I know it's going to be the darkest area. So that will outline the shadows and make it more distinguishable from the rest of the hair. But for now, I'm only going to shade it once, and then later I'm going to cover this and shade it, shadows again on the second time I shade it. And so we move upwards, and this part is a little weird because, you know, the antlers, they're cylindrical, so they're gonna cast a bit of a round shadow over here. However, it's also amidst the shading of the hair, so that means I shade this as one, and then later I'm just gonna create it now. Later I'm gonna do this. See, so you can see it has its own shadow, so it's kind of darker over there. This is gonna get blocked, so. This is the inside of the ear. Let's just shade that a bit. No, this is the part that's most fun in my opinion. You know, hair has this kind of feeling of that every strand can be its own thing, so each one casts its own shadow. Normally in anime, you don't do that because you like to simplify things in an anime style, but I kind of like the detail. Something like this. Of course, later this will change when I put the highlights on. Well, not really. But it'll add something to it. Whenever you draw something in art, make sure it adds something to the drawing rather than taking away from it. Like, even if you added something, yeah, if you add too much of something, you can actually take away. Because if you, like, for example, you want to put focus on the eyes, right? You would shade everything but the eyes, and the brightness will automatically work to attract the viewpoint, or point of view, the focal point of the audience, because the eye is naturally attracted to the brightest thing that it sees. Some artists actually utilize this in horror, or when someone's like in the shadows, and you can only see their eyes, like with a beast or something. You know what I mean? That there's like a pair of red glowing eyes staring at you. That's kind of creepy. That's exactly what I mean. Oh shit! I kind of screwed this up. Sometimes if you want to shade a particular area, you just want to blotch the shadow in and then shape it by erasing into it. Kind of like that. Not exactly, but it's the formula, pretty much. The one that I use, at least. The shadows will always take the shape of what it is being casted by. So if you have a strand of hair, it's gonna go like that, right? It's not gonna go like this. Unless you have curly hair, which isn't the case at the moment. Shading helps a lot. It's more than just the concept of where light does not reach. That is not That's like a very that's an overly simplified version of what it truly is. Shading can add can affect emotional resonance as well. Like if I have sorry, I'm saving at the moment. Yeah. So if I have the face like this, right? As opposed to having it like this. Do you see how much that affects already? Just because of the shading? It's just a lot of tricks in the perception of what light truly means to a particular person. Nah, never mind, I'm just rambling, sorry. Or if, when you see a girl with shadows like this over her face, she's kind of angry. I actually really like this shading color. What I'm doing right here isn't actually correct. Like this part. Sec. This right here is actually supposed to be a little backward, a little further into the back, but whatever. This will be blocked by the this part of the shirt, forming a shadow over here and kind of accentuating the neck. I mean the throat. I put this over here because I can kind of emphasize the collarbones and the throat muscles. These are called the sternomastoid muscles. They go from the pit between the clavicles, the collarbones, between the collarbones to the ear. They help hold your neck together. If you were to lose this suddenly, your head would tilt to the right permanently. So they're quite crucial. And they are surprisingly attractive on women. Like if you see this, if this line shows, oof, man, I like that. That's also why I included this here in the first place. This is this over here, the shadow I put here. This is a transition between the top of the trapezius muscle, which goes from the neck to it's kind of like a diamond shape. It's the top of the back muscle, the muscle that constructs your back. Goes along your spine and spreads sideways toward your shoulders. You see this in men most prominently, but I don't give a shit. I'm doing this for my characters. I'm gonna check the chat in like 5 minutes. Because I want to focus on my drawing, I don't want to slide left and right all the time. Oh yeah, that's inspiration, by the way. Okay, so I'm actually supposed to be doing it here right now, but the flow of, just the flow brought me down here. Let's get back right here. So even though the light's coming from the right, I'm still gonna put this in shading because I can, how to call this? I can show that this is like under the shading of the hair that's hanging around over here. So the light is actually reaching this part over here. But we don't see that. We see the inside of the hair right here. Inside of the hair, that's kind of weird to say. I'm not gonna do the eyes yet because the eyes are a big process on their own, so I'm not gonna really work on that at the moment. It's this that should be shaded, this part. Because her hair is hanging over the other hair. So, this is gonna receive some shadows. If I can aim it properly. Don't know what this is doing here. Eh. Yeah, whatever. Again, I'm gonna shade this twice, so don't care too much about it right now. I'm just gonna, like, later this is gonna be like this. I'll also add the environmental shading like this and this. So yeah, but that's for later. Even though it's really tempting, I really want to do it right now, but it's a procedure. This isn't going to receive any light. This is way in the back. This fold's blocking it as well, so. Because it's Sunday, there's like children playing outside. Don't know if you can hear them. Not that I care. Actually, I do care in a negative way because it can be loud sometimes. Now this is okay. This part's fun actually. When a shoulder is raised, like this, you can kind of emphasize that by shading this entire area. This is the beginning of the pectoral, by the way, or as most know it, the boobs. And so, because her breasts are relatively large, as you can see, the roundness will cast a shadow on this area. I don't really know what these muscles are called, but I know what they look like. Where they're positioned. They're the ones that are shaped like this, you know? Like that. Sec. Where's the chat? Oh, up here. I really love her. You know what's cool? You know, her antlers actually change when she activates her most powerful ability. They become smoky. Like, they turn into energy and it, like, kind of, what do you call that? Resonates from her head in the shape of antlers. It's so cool. Oh. But personally, like, when I draw a character, I usually refrain from causing, like, let me rephrase that point. Let me think about it in my mind for a second, how I'm gonna say this. I refrain from making what makes the character interesting be something sexual. You know, like, when you think of a character like Camilla from Fire Emblem, you're like, Why is she interesting? Well, she's got big tits. Yeah, well, I don't want to make my characters like that. Like, I want to give this girl antlers and weird ass eyes. That makes her interesting, you know. And her inability to speak. That's distinguishable. It's weird, but in an interesting way. And she's also like dressed quite normally for someone in a world where people break the fucking world and atmosphere for shits and giggles. And she's got fucking antlers. What kind of girl has antlers? Well, someone who gets fused with a deer. Which leads to other things in this story. And she's not even human. Okay, so you know this part, right? Since this is being affected by the light, this part, it's this part that will receive shadows. Ah, look at that. That's a beautiful curve. And oh wait, no. I got it. Yes. Sometimes you also want to round them out. Like if you do this, it's fine. If it's fine if you want to do this, but it kind of looks flat. So instead, I just do this, and it gives that sense of roundness. You see, like that, while still retaining the shape of the cloth. And I'm looking at the clock right now. Every 5 minutes I'm gonna check the chat. Cause I gotta focus. I gotta focus on the shading of these boobs. Look at that. No, just kidding. That comes later. This part, right? This part. This is when the boob overlaps the. It's a rib, like over here, right? The rib cage is constructed like this, and so the boob hangs over it, kind of like this. And that's what the shadows look like. Most of the time. If you're not wearing anything, then there is no folds to be created. But even then, the boobs will cast a shadow like this. So everything below that will be shaded. I'm talking a lot about boobs, aren't I? Oh yeah, this part is actually quite fun. Look at this. Instead of just getting stuck like this, you want to either do this, or you can do this and just shape it, which in turn creates a bigger shadow for you to work with if any other areas adjacent to it would affect it. In this case it wouldn't, because this is like the end fold, if you will, and then goes like this. Now you might be wondering, what are these weird diagonal lines? It's I put them there because I know where to shade. I would know where to shade it twice. See, if I have a shadow like this, like for example like this, right? Then I would know that over here is where I intend for the other shadows to be, for the second shadows to be. Something like that. This is a little too heavy though, I'm not going to keep that. Not right now. Oh, I realized I can just keep the Twitch chat up here instead of as its own tab. Okay, so this part, right? This is gonna be shaped like an H, or like the Japanese N. like this. Okay, okay, not really. Actually, it's actually much more subtle than that. Eh. Because this is the part where this is the middle of the boobs, right? Like, you know, boobs go like that, and that's the middle. This is kind of laggy because my computer is garbage and I have like 20 tabs open, and I have no desktop, because it's filled with garbage icons like that. Eh. Not gonna fuss too much about this part, is it? I don't really care about it. Okay, but look, this right, what we're seeing here. This is where the boobs begin. So, I want to do that just a bit. And sometimes what you see is this kind of shape of the shadows. This happens because the boob is round, as we know. Boobs are round, so this curves upward like this. Personally, uh, I guess she could be wearing a bra under that. You know, because this kind of shadow is often created from the clothing that you wear beneath it. Let's just keep this in because I don't want to like think that she's not wearing a bra under that. That'd be kind of weird. And it's super uncommon for anime characters to be wearing bras under their clothes. Okay, now this kind of looks skin tight. That isn't my intention. I don't want it to look like that. So we're gonna add some more loose folds over here. Let's just cover this. This is fine. This is alright. Eh. You know, shading this kind of clothing is actually simple as fuck, but I'm just really overcomplicating this. But oh well. Let's just say I'm preparing this for the next time I'm shading. This is fine. Not actually. Whew, I'm struggling. But of course that's the title of my stream. Okay, I'm leaving this alone for now. Let's work on other areas. Like this, for example. The arm, yes. Everybody likes shading the arm. Let's give that some shape by rounding this up. Because when you have the light coming from the right, like this, right, this won't be shaded because that's where the light is. So we are going to do it over here, just a bit. And then we can make this a bit more round. There's a lot of roundness, you see. There's a lot of round curves. I don't mean the boobs. Like this, see? Ah, very nice. Sometimes you can also add shadows even though you hadn't created a line for it, like this. These are the kinds of shadows, in my opinion, that make it more natural. So because there isn't actually a direct line, it just shows where the shadow appears. Kind of like this. This is fine. It's the most simple things that actually cause me some struggle. I don't know why. Now this arm, not a fan of it, but whatever. Let's do this. And I could have more detail, but nah, this is fine. I can see the shadows are kind of spilling out over here, so let's fix that. Okay, now we can work on the other parts of our body. Since we're done with the boobs. Well, actually, let me adjust this for a bit. There we go. See? Oh, natural. Very natural, yes. Okay, so let's work on the mouth. This is to indicate the bottom lip. It's not actually necessary. I like it like this. Now these aren't actually holes in her eyes. These aren't actually scratches within her eyes. They're just actually part of the white of the eyes. I'm gonna have to color these later. Okay, the nostril could also be shaded just a bit. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, so this is the part where we go on to the other layer of shading. And this is when we add even deeper shadows, because my formula goes like this. I shade something once, and I shade it again, and then I add the highlights, and backlighting, and then I add environmental shading. I'm gonna go back to that later. I'm gonna explain that once I actually start doing it. But for now, let's just shade this boob. Now sometimes when I feel like even the second layer isn't enough, well, and then I just do this. I just take the darkest color. And do that. Usually like the second layer is enough, but sometimes it's not. And then I have to do something like that. This is the start of the muscle, by the way. But like I said, it's actually not like this. It's a bit more in the back, but I can't really change that right now. It's progressed too far. Eh. Sometimes you also have to determine where the shadows even begin. Like, do they go from up to down, or downward upward? You know, from down to upwards, from from down to up. What am I doing? Because it's actually going to affect the stroke. It's going to affect the stroke order, and in particular cases, you want to use. You want to take advantage of stroke order to convey a sense of movement or flow. Usually that doesn't work if you go into the opposite direction. It's like if you have a cat or a dog. It's like running your hand across it like backwards from the tail towards the head. That doesn't work, you know. This works, but sometimes it doesn't. And you're gonna have to like the fuck was that? You're gonna have to like experiment, is what I wanted to say. Like over here, since I've already created the shadows going down up, from down upwards, I'm not gonna shade it like this. That's gonna actually never mind. That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Scrap that. I never said anything. This part's important. Like, we want to distinguish this hair from the ones over here. So we add the darkest of shadows to really make it stand out against this. This looks random, but it's not. I'm following the lines that are pretty random. Do you think, you know, people walk dogs all the time, but do you think you could walk a cat? I don't think so. Like, they're not made for it. This is dark. So yeah. Okay, let's move down. This part's nice because I actually already lined them out, so I know where to go. Like this. Oh, that's the wrong layer. No, that's not necessary. No, I'm not keeping that. But this is a nice part. I just accidentally erased part of the other shadow. Sometimes when you shade things, it can feel like it doesn't really suit the environment, and that's when you add shadows that affect the character based on the objects in the character's environment. This could be a wall or an object, and as such, the shadow on the character will have the shape of the object that's casting it. Now they're in a laboratory, so it'll have to be like a wall, or in most cases it can be anything. You don't even need to show what is casting the shadow. You can just make the shading and then it's fun. I'll show later. I'll show that later. I'm hearing sounds. I think it's my computer. I'm not quite sure I'm gonna deal with this. I think I made the boob shadow here on this layer a bit too low. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Kind of. Oh man, I'm really screwing up right now, aren't I? This is fine. Because now you really get that sense of shape. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to create like a sense of shape for everything in that draw. Roundness for the boobs, cylindrical shape for the arm, and then this is kind of spherical? Not exactly. This is also where the highlights are going to be, so it's going to be like this. This will have backlighting. It's like inverse highlighting. It appears at the very edge of the shadows. Secondary light. That's what it's also called, I think. I'm not quite sure about that one. Wait, just a sec. I gotta piss. BRB. What a relief, been holding that for a while. Okay, so this is an error. This, and I just fixed it. Now this, I want to create a bit of contrast between the dress and this part. What is this even? I think it's a dress, right? Which counts as a dress. Not entirely sure how to shape this. Just could do without that. Oops. Oops. Okay, I think it's time. Oof, I love this part. I love it. Let me just save for a bit. Oh, thank you. People actually find me funny, but damn. I thought I was unfunny. Okay, yeah, so these antlers, they cast their own shadow like I showed earlier. Just like this. And yeah, because they have their own, they're sticking off of the head, so they have their own kind of shape, right? So that shape then casts a shadow, and kind of like that. Kind of, it's not entirely accurate, but okay. Now I can also just clip this, but if I clip it, then that happens. You see, it no longer becomes its own shape, and that's a waste. That defeats the purpose of this third shading layer. So this can also be done, but because the color I just used is way too dark, it kind of blocks out the shading from over here. So like this works. And okay, so what I like to do is something like this, usually. Also, but if I do it over here, I can make the front part of the hair stand out more. See what I mean? Like this. I kind of like that. And this, I think this is really badass when there's a shadow like that. So I'm gonna work on doing something like that, like this, and then I can add larger shadows, like over here. Because I'm using a different brush right now, which is way less sharp than the pen tool, I am now giving myself the freedom to create more soft shadows. Kind of like this. Now this transition is a bit too much in my opinion. Like it's bright and then it's shadow and it's bright and it's shadow. So I'm just gonna make this part a bit darker. If it's too dark, I can always erase it. Like this. Giving it that kind of effect. And because the light's coming from the right, as we established earlier, it's this part, the right side, that's going to be a lot brighter. Sometimes there's also too much shadow, so what you want to do in that kind of situation is just carefully erase it, like that. It looks almost crystalline. I like this. That's because there's like, just like a crystal, you can have like very sharp and distinctive shadows. Of course this isn't, I'm not saying my drawing is like that. Should try drawing a crystal sometime with this shading formula. It would probably work. Now it doesn't make sense why this would be in shading and the ear wouldn't. So let's do that. And now this, something like this. Now because it's kind of like crossing. You want to make them like, you want to make each of these go in the same direction. You don't want to suddenly go like this, because then it's almost like things are crossing. The shadows are crossing one another. Well, maybe you do want that, maybe, if you want. I don't really know. So I'm doing this. Now using the airbrush to kind of brush it away. Because this part's round, right? So I want to create this kind of effect. Same for this. I can cover this. And then erase the outer edge. Okay, see, now this brush isn't sharp enough, so switching back to the pen tool, I'm doing this. Okay, now is the part. Now this is the best part, because boobs. Wait. Yes. Okay. No, not like that. Like that. This whole part is actually just in the shade. Because the way this works, right? As we know, the rib cage is shaped like this. It goes like that, and so the shadows will also kind of conform to that. So like this. And then like this. And there you have it. And this is without highlighting. So I'm gonna add highlights later, but not right now, because I am still working on this shading layer. This is the part where, as we know, boobs, they don't, they kind of go like this, right? So this is the part where they kind of come together. I'm not gonna use the pen tool for this, because this is a very subtle interaction. Yeah, I guess so. See, this is what I mean. It looks almost like it's a crystal. I like that kind of shading. It looks really cool in my opinion. Oh. Okay, so also, if you want to make something stand out even after you've put the shadow over it, you just have to do this. You kind of just erase back into it. And it creates that sense of that there's something receiving just a bit more light by sticking out, like this. Could probably do that here too, but the collarbones would also have that, something like this. This could use more shadow, actually, this part. Now this really creates that sense of roundness. Oh, I love it. I could do the same for the boobs. The bobs. Bobs. Yeah, see, like this is kind of unnatural. It's just like that. We don't want that, or at least I don't. So I'm gonna kind of change this up. I can also blend this together. What this will do is kind of pacify or combine the shading, causing it to look more round. However, it would also require me to kind of outline it more, because it just blended together. I pretty much removed what made it distinguishable. So going back here, there we go. Now that's a boob. Now that's a boob. Okay. So, this is the part when I do the highlights. The highlights, I usually do the highlights on one layer and on a normal layer. But this is actually quite a fun process because I'll show you why. I'll only use this on normal layer. As you can see, it's just a normal layer instead of multiply or overlay, add glow, all that shit. I'm not doing that. So, look, I use the sharp tool and I create, and I take this, I drop the base color, and then we're using color theory. I go up here, select the color a bit upwards, clockwise, and I'll start highlighting. Usually I do this with a sharp tool, like a pen tool, and in the shading, in the shadows, right? Light in the shadows sounds weird, but it actually has a different color. Like the light over here where there is no shadow will be this color, whereas over here, this is gonna have this kind of color. It goes the other way. Wait. Okay, that's not exactly what I wanted to show. How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? Ah, there we go. Yeah, so instead of going upward, I went downward, and then created this. It's kind of a weird idea to grasp. I don't see a lot of artists do this actually, because it's it's simply weird. It's just it's also a pain in the ass. See, if I go like this, and then the light kind of gets colorized by the shadow, if you know what I mean. See? It's kind of like that. I'm sure you've seen this before. The people that do this, I commend them. Like, this shit's really annoying, to be honest. But it helps. Especially if you do it well, and if you've done it enough times, it can really affect the mood of a drawing. Like, instead of this, you can just do this. And it looks more pleasing. In my opinion, at least. And like, if you prefer this, I don't care. You do that. But I kind of like this. I think this is also called, this is exactly what backlighting is. It's when there's either a secondary source of light or there is light that interacts differently as a result of the shading. So like this. And it always like appears at the very edge of the shading, of the shadows. Like out here. Maybe I'm messing terms up, but maybe it's not even called backlighting. But I do know that this kind of thing is a technique used in art. See, it's really distinctive like that. Versus this, really helps. doing the same over here. Oh, actually, no, I'm not. I forgot this part. This is the boob. Well, of course, we know that. I don't know why I said that. I still were necessary. Eh. There. Oh, that boob. Okay. If you thought that I was done, well, I'm not actually. Unfortunately, I'm not. There's shit to do like over here. This can be done too if you want. This creates a nice sense of color and it blends together really well. But depending on the style, of course, it doesn't always work. You won't see this in cell shading because this isn't cell shading. This is more like soft shade, I think. If any other artists are watching this, they can probably correct me. Boop. Shit, I fucked up. Do you hear the pigeon outside? Pigeons have this distinctive way of chirping, if you can even call it that. And it always follows the same rhythm. That's not a pigeon, that's a car. What I'm doing right now is I'm kind of outlining the shadows because I like it. Yeah. Now sometimes you can also do this. Not a fan of it though. It's a bit too bright. Or you can just do it with an airbrush if you want. It's kind of more atmospheric. I like it, so. Okay, so what I just did, right? I still have to do it to the hair and the face and the eyes. So let's do that, I guess. No. This is really tiny. Like, you might think it won't make a difference, but it's actually noticeable from far away. Like this. Yeah. Wait. What I usually do is, and I kind of screw it up below. Like that. Okay, let's just ignore that for now. I don't like the eyes at all, so I'm just gonna highlight this. Now these actually use a different color. Like I'm gonna take the base color of this, go up here, and do the same thing. Okay, what the fuck? Oh wait, they're on this. They're a layer above it. That's why. That's why it's not working. There we go. Since this part's a bit round, I'm not gonna use sharp long strokes for this. I'm just gonna do this. Nah, it'll be fine. Because highlights and shadows, they all depend on what the shape of the object is, right? I'm gonna use this brush again. I feel like it's a little more subtle than that. See, this is the power of highlighting and backlighting. Oh, I like it. That's the wrong color. So the purple goes on the left, right? And the other one, the orange thing, salmon? Whatever that color is, goes on the right. What is this color anyway? I think it's salmon. It's not exactly pink, it's not exactly orange. Oh. Sometimes you don't even need to know the name of the colors you're using. Just use it. It's like a gun. Do you know what you're firing? No, I don't care. You don't care, you just shoot. Let's get you some more. Oh yeah, what I just did just now, that's actually what I meant to do with the hair. Or what I'm going to do with the hair later. Look, something like this, right? You just go across the middle and then kind of scratch around it. I don't think it works with cylindrical things. Cylindrical things. I guess I'll just show you later when I'm doing the hair. Now I can also detail this. Fortunately, I have drawn trees before and it's not that different. So it's kind of, you create the cracks and the ridges. Ah, that's the word, ridges. Create the cracks and ridges and wait, that's wrong. Let's get you some more detail actually. orange and then purple. Let's just call it orange. I don't care what it is. Let me test something. Okay, so that does sort of work. What I was trying to do is create just a blob of color and then shape it in a way as to match the formation of a ridge or a branch. Oh, I love it. This is a bit flat. Let's fix that. Or try to, at least. Yeah, okay, no, that doesn't work with antlers. When you want to create, when you want to make things more visible, you just have to zoom out and then paint like that, because that's when you can actually see the details, and that's when you can actually make details that are visible from this far away, as opposed to if you do this and you're like, oh, I want to highlight this. Will it be visible from over here? Yeah, it will, but you know. I actually used to do that a lot. I used to make a ton of tiny details only to find out they weren't even noticed at full view. That's a lot of blood, actually. Just other environmental drawings I have out, just for inspiration. Okay, this is the best part. We can just use white because her hair is white. Here, this is one. Let's see if I can do it. See, in anime you have this kind of thing, right, where the highlights appear in the hair like this. But I'm not just gonna keep it at that. I'm gonna actually shape them in a particular way. Like this. Oh, it really is kind of working. I like it. But these aren't direct highlights. It's like more of the, like in the middle of everything. They don't exactly outline the object that I'm trying to, the particular object that I'm trying to highlight. Like this. This would help a lot more. With a sharp tool across this. But again, I kind of need to zoom out so I know they're actually showing up from further away. Also, all the details you put in are for nothing. I've had that before, as I've said. Now because hair goes like this, right? Easier to go like this than from down upwards. But both work somewhat. Now sometimes you don't actually want too many highlights because sometimes you can have a deliberate sense of darkness in the character and then you don't add highlights. But because she's quite a bright character, despite her looks. So I want to add some more details to this. But we're not exactly focusing on eyes right now, so let's just add one highlight and then just call the eye done. Fuck me, it's sunny outside and it's kind of just beating down on me. I like winter more than spring. Okay, this is the part when I go from where I follow the flow of the hair, like this. But I also want to zoom out a bit. Oh, wait. I just caught something on my pen. A piece of lead or something. Not a lead, but yeah, whatever. Okay. Yeah, it's still working. Now you don't want too much of this, depending on what you're trying to achieve, because sometimes it can just look really bright. In like the 90s anime, they would have they would have shit like this. Like all over the hair. That's exactly what this is. It's just more what I'm doing right here. It's exactly what that is, but it's of course it's not too obnoxious. That works. Let's see. Huh. It's not that bad. I'm keeping it actually. I like it. It just has to be more sharp. What is this? Wait, when did I put that there? These two round dots. Oh, beautiful. I love it. I'm gonna save for a bit. Let's keep the chat up there. Yes, I do have a meme video on the other window. It's a Will Smith from the Rewind. I'm gonna work on this later. There's actually supposed to be some backlighting over here, but I'm not gonna do that now. What I'm doing now is like straight hairs. You can already see a few over here. Also, I'm doing all this effort on this one character, but there's also a whole other character over here that I have to do. I'm not gonna burn myself out though. I'm gonna stop after I'm done with this one character, and then later I'm gonna resume again in like 5 hours probably. Nah, let's not do that. More like this. Okay, what was I doing? Oh yeah. Oops. Okay, look. This part, right? Ah, there we go. Now that looks more three-dimensional. That looks more three-dimensional, yes. Let's do the same over here. Not as much though, because that's in the shade. That's in the shade. The reason I'm shading it like this is because the eyeball is round, right? So you don't want to do something whatever. I'm not gonna even show it. You know what I mean? Okay, so because her teeth are out, it's kind of like that. And then the lip kind of casts a shadow like this, maybe? Nose, maybe. Nah, that's kind of Western. Not really my intention. But it does look more complete. Nah. So what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was doing highlights. Completely white. I'm gonna have to fix this too for a bit. Let's see what I can do here. Yeah, it's fine. I feel like I'm missing something. What could it be? I've shaded this 3 times. I've done the highlights. I've done the backlighting. There's something missing. Wait. I'm doing this because this part of the face is kind of round-ish. And I kind of want to not remove the shadow, but kind of dilute it. How do you dilute a shadow? That's for liquid, but you know, dilute. So yeah. Okay, let's see what I can do over here. I'm gonna try and highlight this. What layers is on? Okay. What happens if I do this? Oh, so I just go home. Maybe I can airbrush. See, look at this. This is just like something is missing. What layer is this on? One, two. Oh, I didn't shade it 3 times. Look. Okay, not that heavy. Where's that color that I had? Was it this? It's a bit heavy. Yes. Ah, look. Okay, I'm just gonna pick my own color over here. There we go. This is what I was looking for. See, I laid these shadows down, but I didn't actually shade there for some reason. That's why it felt incomplete. There we go. This is what I wanted. Now the highlights also look brighter. And I think that's what I wanted to do, yeah. Maybe I'm putting too much effort into shading. Like I'm shading this for the 4th time now. My skin almost looks purple, but it's just because of the shading. Now what I would not do right now is merge the layers, merge these layers like this, so I can manipulate them easier, but I still have to use those same layers for the other character. Oh wait, let's see what I can do over here. Oh, I like that. Oh, very nice. Yes. It's a bit too saturated though. There. That's it. Very nice. Let's detail these antlers a bit more. So yeah, you see these you see this character over here, right? That's the same girl over here. I did the portrait first because then I can actually determine how I want these base colors later to look like. So yeah. Also because I'm setting this up as though it were a visual novel with a character talking and then with the name next to it and then the text and shit. And later I'm also gonna have to do a background. What a tedious job. If I see it like that, I guess nothing's fun. But I like doing this. Here, let me darken this a bit more. I want to separate the skin from the hair. Okay, not literally, but I want to make it more distinguishable. See, like this? With that shadow like that, it's a bit more easy to the hair kind of stands out more against the face. So that's exactly what I want. And then later I can also work on these things in the eyes. Actually, I might do that right now. Wait. They're kind of like dark purple. I think this is indigo, but whatever. Is indigo blue or purple? I have no idea. I think it counts more as blue. So because these are now a darker color, they actually appear more visible from over here at this angle. Not angle, but at this zoom distance. That's not what I just did. Doesn't really affect it because it's just black. So I don't know why I did that. Okay, so to separate it from the hair even more. To separate the hair from the face even more, I can go over here. I can select this, and I can really outline the hair. Kind of like this. But I don't want to use direct white. I want to use something more subtle. Something like pink, maybe? Pink. Would that work? No, not light blue. No. Ah, this works. Yes, that's very nice. So you can already kind of feel it. That's the wrong layer for that. You know when the sun shines too long on your body, you can kind of feel the warmth of it. While usually people describe that as a pleasant thing, I think it's fucking annoying because I can't do anything about it. I can't. Ugh. Like, ugh. I'm actually just leaning my head forward just so I don't get hit by the sun. It's usually at 4 or 5 p.m. when that starts to happen. It's so annoying. Alright, this part. Forgot about this part. Maybe this is a little bit too much detail in the hair. Nah. This needs more detail. This antler needs more detail. I think I'm gonna stop streaming in 10 minutes. At 4:20. 4:20. Oh shit. Had the wrong tool selected. What I'm doing right now is introducing more color to this part, because I want the eyes to be pretty detailed, and I'm going to use pink to highlight, something like that. This is a bunch of usage of complementary colors, by the way, like pink and light blue, all that shit. Not exactly complementary, because that's like the opposite side of the color wheel, but like color in the same third of the coloring wheel, like this, in this range, you know. I don't know how many degrees that is, but I'm just gonna say a third. See, for these antlers, I'm gonna work on these a bit more. A bit more over here. Yes. I'm so glad in digital art you can undo, because if I did this, like, what a nightmare. It's time for the white highlights. This isn't gonna receive as much because it's in the shadows. Let's just keep it like that. Maybe this. I think this is a bit too bright. Let's cross this over. Okay. Usually in anime, a certain character has a certain order of highlights. Like this, right? 3 over there. Or you could also have like this. It's different for each character. But for me, I really don't care. It's pretty random. Just outlining the shadows here. And remember, make sure every detail you make is one that you can actually see from full view. Otherwise it's just wasted, or it can even mess up something. I can also, while I'm doing this anyway, I might as well do this too. No, that doesn't work. Okay, what else can I do here? I think I have an idea. The hell? Oh, it's white, so overlay doesn't affect that. Oh, yeah, so overlay doesn't, it's not going to do much for this character. I can use it to highlight though. No, not even. Well, maybe I can. Something like that, see? I usually use overlay to match the colors with one another, but they're pretty matching already, so it's kind of redundant. But I still enjoy doing it. Although it could make your drawing look a little hazy, if you could call it that. Not exactly hazy, but the colors blend together too much, and then it becomes a little hard to distinguish from one another, which isn't exactly what you want. You know, colors are like imagine if your canvas is like a stage, and every color, everything you do or draw on that canvas has its own role, like it's like the stage's actress or actor, you know. This is here to do this, or this is here in order to affect that in a particular way. This suits the other in some way, you know? It's all this synchrony. It can be hard to master. Especially if you're colorblind. But okay, let's not joke about that. But yeah, really, it's not something you get in one day. Nothing is, especially in the art. It takes a lot of experimenting, and eventually you'll get it. I like how this looks so sharp, and then over here it's kind of like blended together and shit. It's kind of weird. Oh fuck. Hold on. I think I just screwed something up over here. Yeah, this should actually be lower. Yeah, like that. See, because this boob is too high. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's 4:20. Time to end the stream. Haha. I'm gonna finish the other character tonight. In like 6 hours, maybe. So, yeah, I'm done. See ya. Thanks for coming.